welcome to a brand new episode of the Totally Indian Football Show. I'm your host Siju, and once again, I'm glad to say that I am today getting bringing you this episode while I'm in person with my guest, and it's the second episode that I'm doing that way. And for those of you who know, I'm still in Bangalore. Probably once this episode is out, I'll be out of Bangalore. But I'm so happy to finally get this guest on my show, Chelston Pinto. I've known him for what he does, strength and conditioning coach. I think we first met at our A license course while he was brought in by Richard Hood to take a session, and we were all impressed by what he does. And then it just took off, and since then there are many stories added to that. So, Chelston, firstly, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Siju. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, Chelston, you started off from Bombay. You're a Bombay lad, but you've been adopted by Bengaluru now, and vice versa. Tell us your journey in terms of how you got into Bangalore, and now this is your home.
Well, actually, I was born in Bombay. My mom is from Bombay, and my parents were in the Middle East. At that point of time, there was this Gulf invasion. That's why they came back, and so I lived the first 3 years of my life in Bombay. After which I went to the Middle East. Very few people know this. So I was there for a few years, and then I moved to my original hometown. That was Mangalore, and then football finally brought me to Bangalore.
Right. So you've been in different parts of the country, of the world, also, right? Um, what made you why football, and how did that start?
Well, I think I was always into sport. Sport was in my DNA, even though no one else really played sport in my family professionally. I was always driven towards it, and yeah, back in Kuwait when I was in the Middle East, I played whatever I could possibly get. There weren't too many opportunities for us there, but as I moved to India, I think got some more opportunities, and in Mangalore, I got hooked on to football the most.
Yeah, and then how you started playing, or how is that journey? Before, probably, there's always a kickstart before coming into strength and conditioning, and come there for that because your profile is quite long. If I introduce you, so how did the playing thing happen, and how did you move to Bangalore?
So when I moved to Mangalore, I actually started playing cricket, and on the side, I used to play a lot of football in my school. And I played cricket at a higher level. In fact, originally I was playing for the zonal levels, and then I realized that I was a lot better in football, and I was just doing a lot better. I was feeling a lot better, and I enjoyed it a lot more than cricket. That's when I made the move to football completely, and I was lucky enough to represent the Karnataka state at the junior levels. So that brought me to Bangalore, and yeah, one thing led to another. I think I wanted to really stay in the sport. I wasn't sure if I'll make it to the next level in football, and that's why I took up the whole education process in strength and conditioning, and here I am.
Well, now to start that journey, you are also currently a founder of the Rapid Sports Fitness, and I must tell our listeners, I get the privilege to be around. So if you're here in Bangalore next time in Kormangla, do drop in. We are recording this episode from the place, and you mentioned the education aspect, and you kind of got hooked onto that, and you made sure you're good at that aspect. How did that happen? Because and why Bangalore?
Well, I think Bangalore was an immediate choice because in Karnataka, I think this is the biggest city. This is where all the opportunities are. And again, the city really sort of welcomed me when I came in. I did my college here and I played a lot of football here. The move to strength and conditioning was just firstly, just to give me sort of insurance, a cover if football didn't really work out for me. I needed to move on to something that I really liked. And, for me, I am a very passionate person, and it's very important for me to do what I love. So the original plan for Rapid Sport Fitness also was to always have athletes around me, get to train athletes, get to travel with teams, make a difference in youth players as well as experienced players lives. And yeah, that's the whole thought process behind starting Rapid Sport Fitness.
Now, like told our listeners in the start, that we both met at the A license while you were brought in by Richard to take the session there. And then I think you broke into the news because you were also a player and a coach for Bengaluru, FC Bengaluru United, the new team that was coming out from here. Um, Tell us if you can share experience with coming down from that course, because you had that session with upcoming coaches who are going to get out and probably get an A license, how important it is for even for a coach who's not specializing into what you actually specialized into, but to have that knowledge that how important this aspect is.
Well, I think the course was sort of a game changer for me. I think that opportunity came out of the blue, right from the even the Bengaluru United call for me. It was at the point of my career where football wasn't really taking me too far. Or let me just put it this way: I wasn't doing too well, and at that point of time, I think the club really backed me and gave me the confidence to go out there and play well. So, for me, probably that was my best season that I had played. And, when Richard and Savio sir gave me the opportunity to present about strength and conditioning for the A license coaches, I was thrilled. I mean, I was very happy to share whatever I had learned. And at that point of time, we were also getting started with putting up a process for Bangalore United. Um, we want to really have a strong process where players come out and really benefit from it. And I think sharing that experience with the A license coaches really helped. And like you said, I mean, at that point of time, there were not too many, or I don't think there were other player-cum-coaches. And it was probably the most challenging part of my career so far. But it's also, I think, probably the most enjoyable part of my career. So I really enjoyed that, really loved that challenge, and I hope I get some more opportunities in the future.
Well, I mean, coming to that bit, because it's not very easy to do that, right? You're also a player and you were a centre back playing for FCBU. You have pressure of keeping yourself fit, injury free, and also the entire squad. How did that go like?
I think, like I said, it was definitely challenging, but leadership comes naturally to me. I really enjoy, I thrive under pressure. And, obviously, I had the backing of the head coach, assistant coach, Richard. I mean, I owe a lot to him because when honestly I had nothing, he really trusted in me, and he pushed me to get to the next level. So both as a player as well as a coach. And I had to pay that back as well. So I had to work two times harder than the other players. Make sure that I'm disciplined about what I'm doing to keep myself in top shape. And fortunately, I hadn't got injured in that 3 seasons that I played at Bengaluru. And at the same time, I think the injury rates of the other players had come down. A lot of players, the younger players, benefited from the whole process that we had, right from strength and conditioning to even Gormangi Singh coming in as an experienced pro into the setup. I think overall it was an enjoyable experience, and like I said, like the whole leadership really worked for me, and I was thriving under that pressure.
Then you moved to Churchill Brothers the following season in the I League. Here you didn't get a chance to play, but you were playing the role of a strength and conditioning coach. How was that experience?
Well, I think again, Churchill came all out of blue. I think the transfer window had shut in Jan, and when I was approached, it was about Feb, where the team wasn't really performing to its best. Although they had a good squad on paper, and like I said earlier, I love challenges, and it really called out to me, and I said, okay, I'll come down for 2 months and give it my best shot. I explained to the team management as to what I could bring in, and again, fortunately for us, I think we really worked hard, and credit to the boys out there. I mean, we started off when I first went in there, we were second last on the table, and to finish fourth in the table was really good and satisfying at the end of it. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. So overall, I was really happy with the experience at Churchill Brothers. It was something different, very, very different from whatever I had faced before. And I'm sure this experience would also help me going further.
Now let's deep delve into exactly, the whole and core that you are a strength and conditioning coach. Tell us, for a layperson who's probably listening to this, even if he or she is a football fan and wants to understand what exactly this is, how would you describe it?
Well, strength and conditioning for an athlete basically is to enhance the athlete's performance. So when I say strength training is to ideally, make the athlete stronger, more powerful, more explosive, and all of that needs to translate on the pitch. So I think that's where that's the main job of an strength and conditioning coach. As a strength and conditioning coach, I want to work with my player or my athlete in the gym, and then be able to transfer that work, whatever the work has been put in the gym, to the field outdoors. So that's more or less what a strength and conditioning job or role is, apart from obviously the football specific or any sports specific roles in terms of the aerobic capacity, in terms of changing directions, agility, reacting faster, lasting longer in matches. So overall, I mean, just the gist of what we do.
Now, having worked with so many Indian footballers, now currently also you have your whole independent, players coming and training under you. Some of the elite players from ISL and I League are currently with you, doing their person preseason. Having known them for several years, probably from the day one that you met in today, how do you see the scale of improvement, and how important is your role in all of this?
Well, I think, Siju, that's a really good question, because over the last 4 years, I've seen a lot of growth, a lot of education, in terms of player education, in terms of them understanding their body, them realizing the role of strength and conditioning in their game. And, it really shows with the numbers that we have. 4 years ago, I was, out there fishing out for players, trying to educate them and telling them that, okay, this is how strength and conditioning will benefit you. From the last season, I think I've been getting a lot of players, and this season, in fact, I reached the point where I couldn't take in more players. So overall, I think working in the off season is very different from working in the preseason and in season. In the off season, we do most things that you cannot ideally, or you don't have the time to do during the season. So here we work on full range of motion. We work on injuries that players have picked up during the season. We work on aspects that they want to really bring into their game in the next season. So it's a mix of a lot of work from an endurance point of view, a lot of work from a mobility and strength point of view. We work on ranges that ideally would lead to soreness the next day, so we can't really do that during the season. So I think overall, this really benefits the players, because when they go into preseason, they're really going a gear up as compared to their competitors, and by the time the in season comes, they're already peaking. So that's the whole point about getting this off season camp going every year.
Right now, we modern football also involves a lot of data, a lot of analytics, and it's all the numbers game in terms of how fast you are. All the tests, that agility test, and all of that they do. It also has a role for sports scientists, who brings in all of this. Today, and as a person who've been following football, how adaptive is Indian football, specific because we're looking at Indian football right now? Um, to these kind of roles, or even the clubs at a higher level, are they open to have and a person completely wholly and solely only doing this?
Well, I think I'm not too sure about the highest level, because again, I haven't really worked with the ISL clubs yet. But with regard to data, I think it's really important, and but it's only as important as the action that you can take on it, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of numbers, and if you're not really taking action, in terms of improving performance, then it doesn't make sense. I think one of the most common metrics that we use today with all the ISL clubs, with the players, and fortunately we had that in FCBU as well, is the GPS. So GPS pods sort of give you the total distance covered by each player, the sprint distance, the change of directions, accelerations, and decelerations. So this really helps us position specifically to train players in the preseason. Say, for example, if my wingback usually covers about 12 kilometers, I know how to really progress his training towards hitting that 12 kilometers during the season. And so that only means that I'm taking action against the data that I'm using. So similarly, obviously, you have heart rate monitors. In the gym environment, we have a lot of force plates and velocity based training. But again, those are fancier equipment. I think right now in India, at least from the players that I've worked with, we've just been able to start the process of a full 8 or 10 months period of training. So I think now consistency is the name of the game. So now I think it's important for us to educate the younger youth players or players coming out of the system about the importance of strength and conditioning and taking care of their body, their recovery, and how it's going to make a huge impact in their game going forward if they want to play it at the highest level for the next 15 to 18 years.
Now, for someone, you mentioned the education aspect of you educate yourself about this aspect and you want to get into it because fitness is one that you're one is passionate about sport and being around with athletes, and fitness is one other important aspect. What's the education process like for someone who wants to be a strength and conditioning coach?
I think today there's lots of options. I think the easiest way to get into it is by doing a certification. So there's a US based certification called the CSCS. There's an Australian based certification called the ASCA, that's ASCA. And then there's a UK based certification called UKSCA. So these three are the top in terms of performance training certifications. But again, if it's something that an individual wants to take on as a career path, then I would strongly say to get a degree either in strength and conditioning or sports science, and then proceed towards doing their masters. That would be the best route.
Now, I mentioned you have the current crop of players, elite players under you for a program. How is that experience? Like you mentioned, this is a off season. There's a lot more that you need to do. Keeping in mind preseason or in season, and it's not one or two athletes you're training. There are a couple of them, more than that, in fact. How is that experience like?
I think for me, the off season is the most hectic part of the year. Again, when we move into the team environment, preseason also is hard. But again, off season, just having 20-25 athletes coming in, and each one of them are motivated to do well. So I think that's the best part I get over here is where athletes are willingly coming in to work hard. And again, for me, it's about giving more than 100% because these guys are willing to put in the work, and I want to ensure that I'm giving my best to them. And then obviously also follow their progress throughout the season as well, keep in touch with regards to their performance side of things and how they feel physically. So yeah, the off season is very, very important. And I think here we create an environment where each player comes in, they spend almost the whole day training, spending on recovery, eating clean. We help them with their nutrition, with their sports psychology a little bit. And at the end of the day, I think because there are so many players here, it creates sort of a team environment. And yeah, hopefully we can build on this year on year.
Now, when you're maybe I don't know if it's the right question, but again, I'm going to be a layperson and ask you all those. When you're in a team setup, a club setup, the coach has a certain demands, right? Probably you will sit down with the coach and get to know what he or she wants from the entire squad, and you would probably work on that. Now, when it's off season, you are everything. You are their team coach. You are their strength and conditioning. So, how then exactly would you work? Because here, you don't have the same kind of players. You have all different players playing for different clubs, comes from different background. They themselves would be even I think the region that they come from would also probably be a criteria to look at. How probably then would know your food, your diet, and all of that. So how different or how is that like?
Well, I think that's a good question. So, initially, on the first day, they come in for an assessment. We have a long chat with regard to how their season went, what their future goals are for the next season, and what specifically they want to work, want to work towards. So, I also make it a point to watch a lot of their matches. A lot of players tell me in advance that they're coming in, so I follow a lot of their games and really understand the players that they are. And obviously Indian football, the system is small. I mean, everybody at the end of the day, and in each team, I either know the strength and conditioning coach, the assistant coach, or maybe the physiotherapist. So I have a word with them as well, and with all those inputs, I sort of formulate one program which would work, and it keeps changing because as players. When they do certain movements or when they progress from one week to another, they sort of change or they want to work on something different, so that's where we individualize each player's strength and conditioning plan. We also have obviously on court or on field fitness sessions and conditioning sessions. We do a lot of ball work as well. That's where we pull in all players together. But otherwise in the gym, it's mostly very individualized to each individual, so to each player. So more or less, it doesn't matter from where they're coming in or what their level is, but at the end of the day, we want them to get better. So we assess them at the start of the training program and again at the end of the 4 weeks. And some of them stay in for 8 weeks. So then we do a testing after the eighth week as well. So we show them progress. and then we sort of formulate a plan for them to follow even when they're with their teams, and we see if we can probably work with one of their support staff there as well.
Right. Now, I think something that also would interest the listeners would be the crop of players that you're right now training under, training with. And if you can name some of them and some of probably if you want to share and if you can, uh, how is it like working with them, rather working on them, and how is their progress been like from day one till now, until now the program is going on?
I think I don't want to name anyone as such, but like I said, it's a great opportunity for me to have these guys over. And with regard to progress, I think everybody is so individualized, and like I said, they're so focused that week on week they are seeing results, and really enjoying the process more than anything. I think for me, it's important to transfer education as well as get them to enjoy the process, because a lot of players first, when they come in, they say, okay, I'm here for 4 weeks, I just want to work and get better, and then I want to get out. So but for me, that's not the criteria. For me, if a player comes in, I want to ensure that he enjoys the process and then he continues the process when he's not here. So that is the sort of challenge that I place for myself, wherein it's not only about coaching them here, but also be able to get them to sustain and perform at a higher level, later on as well. So, again, like a lot of I League and ISL players have been training over here. So, I think it's helped me also in the last 3 to 4 years to see, the different group of players right from different age groups. I mean, you've seen players here above the age of 35 and some as young as 17 and 18. So it's a good wide different crop of players, but at the end of the day, I think personalizing each one's fitness regime, because you don't get that in teams. So here I give them something that ideally it's not possible to do in a team environment, and I think that's why it's different, and that's why off season is so important.
Now, what's next for Chelston Pinto in with regards to whatever all that you are doing? Do you still have that playing heart in you that you want to continue playing, or would you completely want to focus on being the strength and conditioning coach?
Well, obviously, the long-term goal is to really make it big in strength and conditioning, to move up a notch, to make sure that I'm updating myself at all times. And with regard to playing, I keep myself fit. I ensure that I'm in touch with the game all the time, no matter how much work is there. I think that's sort of one way to keep me alive all the time. So I'm always looking forward to playing opportunities, and yeah, let's see what comes forward in the season to come. And like I said, I love challenges, and I if I have to do it, I'll do it with passion. And playing and SNC is two things that I love the most. So yeah, let's see what's in store for me.
The last two questions. One is, how does a day in the life of Chelston Pinto look like when he's at Rapid Sports Fitness or doing a program?
Well, my day starts at 5:45. I open the center at that time. I start my first session at 6, so I work 6 to 1, and then 1 to 2 is my off time, and then I work again from 2 to 7. So I train from 7 to 8 by myself, and yeah, dinner after that, and I'm back home. So that's my usual time at the off season. And 3 times a week we usually go outdoors with the boys, and that's where we all train together. But apart from that, it's more or less in rapid sport fitness. So yeah, the off season, like I said, is the most hectic time, and that's why when I move in for preseason, or when I go in during the season, I feel much more relaxed. Even though sometimes a lot of the team management or a lot of players say it's so it's difficult in preseason, but for me at that point it's not as hard as it was in off season. So I think this really helps me and keeps me grounded.
Well, finally, I know the entire episode has been a worthwhile for all those tuning in, but if you had to say one thing to someone who is probably looking at wanting to pursue something like this, or even for that matter, sports science, and now that it's so important, not just in football, in other fields, you have other athletes here as well. What is that one encouraging thing that you would tell someone who's looking to pursue or is already pursuing this?
Well, I think the only thing I'd say is if you really want to do it with all your heart. I mean, don't think twice. There shouldn't be a sort of a if or but. You just need to put in everything that you have, and you need to give it time. A lot of times, some of my colleagues or my juniors, get into something and they don't want to give it time. So at the end of the day, I think time is everything. Experience counts for a lot, and if you're dedicated and you pursue something with a lot of passion, I'm sure it will work out for you.
Well, Chelston, thank you so much. And I think I've taken some time off from your schedule. And thank you so much for spending time. I had a lovely chat with you and to get to know a little bit more about this whole aspect. And yes, we do have a video. A long time back, I had asked Chelston to share a masterclass series that we were doing on this. So you'll find that video probably before this episode is out. So do catch it on our YouTube channel, where he gives specific pointers to if you're, how you go about and if you're a strength and conditioning coach. It will be on our YouTube channel of Humans of Indian Football. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the episode. We are the Totally Indian Football Show. I was your host, Siju, and please do follow and subscribe to all our episodes, all our shows. They're available on all the leading audio platforms. Thank you once again, Chelston. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Siju, and great job with the whole Totally India football show and Humans of Indian Football. I think covering all of us and putting us in the limelight takes a lot, and I wish you all the best for the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those encouraging words. Thank you, guys.